morning, everyone. My name is Akanksha Vichare, editor of Ace Update magazine, and I welcome you all to the online interaction on designs that make Indian cities smart. Smart cities are focused on extending the life of natural resources, lowering operating expenses such as energy and water use, and ensuring human comfort, safety, and productivity. Other distinguished characteristics would be non toxic, recycled, and environmentally friendly building materials. For India to realize the ambitious infrastructure plan of smart cities, it would need safe designs and intelligent materials and solutions that make the construction process quicker and faster. Smart materials and structures are among the most promising technologies for improving lifetime efficiency and dependability today. Keeping this plan in mind, ACE Update is conducting an online interaction on designs that make Indian cities smart. The distinguished speakers for today's online interaction are Ms. Anuprita Dixit from IMK Architects, Ms. Tripat Girdhar from the Design Studio, and Mr. Shailesh Pathak from Grow Ever Infra Private Limited. So my question is for all the panelists that how far our regulations are good enough for Indian cities to become sustainable cities? I would like to know all your views. Starting from Mr. Shailesh, would you like to share your views?
I went through my presentation. You could have already seen that government have initiated with the Smart City Mission project. But before that, we already had Amrut and Jain and Rohan. So government have been doing to uplift quality of living and provide amenities and facilities to the citizen. What is lacking is creating awareness. Like most of us live in cities today, but how many of us know what are the components of smart city? What as a citizen, how well can we participate in the upliftment of our own city? It may be as part of 100 smart city project, or it may not be. But creating awareness is a big thing which have to be done, and which we saw like through Street for People challenge and through Cycle for Change challenge, we saw public participation. So I think public participation and public awareness would be a very important factor, which the public bodies or the government, which we can say, should concentrate more upon.
I totally agree with you. Ms. Anuprita, can we have your views?
So, with respect to the presentation that I made, where we are talking about affordable housing and upliftment of the slum dwellers, unfortunately, the regulations kind of promoted the SRE scheme, which is already proving to be unsuccessful. So what they did was they gave a lot of concessions for the rehab units to be built, and thereby we landed up with developments which are really unhygienic and not very good for their health conditions. Awareness now is increasing. I mean, people are realizing what went wrong, and appropriate steps I hope the government and the regulating agencies take fast enough so that we stop going in that direction further and we improve. So we have been actually, we've come up with this community-led development concept, and we've been trying to get awareness amongst the government officials and ministers so that they take some positive steps in that direction. Let's see how it goes.
Next question to Mr. Shailesh. So your submission summarized the increasing importance of smart cities. So my question is, which architectural styles are currently in demand that may satisfy the demands of smart buildings and sustainable building methods?
So I think it's not much about architectural style. It's about how do you respond to the requirement. And when you come to architectural style, it restricts your kind of building architecture. But to make smart city smart, it's not only building architecture or build form which is important. It's more about development of space. How do you respond to the requirement of citizen? How do you make a city sustainable? So if you want to restrict it to architect, or if you want to name it, I would say like you can call it sustainable architecture is what we should encourage. And but yes, it's not limited to kind of architectural typology or architectural kind of style of architecture, but definitely yes, more towards sustainability and upliftment and development.
Thank you, Mr. Shailesh, for sharing your views. Moving on to Ms. Anuprita. Anuprita, your expertise includes prioritizing optimization of construction and operational cost as per client's requirement, right? So what are the challenges in offering sustainable and durable aesthetics within the client's budget?
Yeah, so there's always a balance that you have to find. So capital costs are always high, right? For adopting any of these sustainable means, the capital costs are high. So you have to educate the clients and show them how it would be really beneficial in the long term. On the other hand, I feel if you're designing in such a way that you're building within the context. So if you're building taking into consideration the climatic whatever the temperatures and the rainfall and the wind patterns and all that in the area, then you can even by design you can achieve a sustainable solution. So those then are not capital intensive to solution. So if you can achieve that and then marry it with the other solutions, then maybe we can achieve a better outcome.
Definitely. That was very thoughtful, Ms. Anuprita. Thank you. Mr. Shailesh, green architecture and green designs are gaining momentum in India, right? So what are your views on going beyond contemporary designs in mainstream architecture with green designs?
I think that could be a welcome step. That should be encouraged, green design and green building architecture. But then we need to understand what actually a green building architecture is. How do you implement it? It's not only just to achieve rating through, maybe there are rating agencies, GRIHA and LEED. So it's not just about achieving ratings in green architecture, but it's actually building green spaces or green green buildings which are actually green, which don't use up the natural resources or energy or which don't pollute the environment. So spaces or buildings, if we talk in terms of buildings, as well as if we talk in terms of spaces, suppose if you design a public space, you should encourage people or the citizen to utilize the space in such a way that they don't end up polluting the environment, they don't end up creating another mess, So such kind of encouragement should be there. Suppose you encouraging use of renewable energies should be there. So I think these factors, if followed, will be achieving the requirement or what we discuss in current days about green architecture or green building or green environment. So we can achieve that very easily.
Ms. Anuprita, if you would like to answer any of the questions or if you agree to any of the Mr. Shailesh's point, you can definitely put in your thoughts as well.
Yeah, I quite agree with whatever inputs he gave right now.
All right. Ma'am, how do you look at the popularity of green designs and the cost associated with it?
See, actually, I think the awareness is increasing. We are increasingly finding that clients come to us with this as one of their requirements, that we want our building to be green. And surprisingly enough, it's not only for the rating, not only for achieving the rating. That is not their main goal. There are many clients who come to us saying that we want basically to create a building where we're taking care of the users' comfort or the user's requirements and the utility of the space, rather than looking at the end, getting a certification or something like that. So I think, and in terms of cost, like I explained to you, there are various ways in which you can achieve the goal. So it's not always that it's going to be, cost intensive.
Definitely. Mr. Shailesh, how are advanced technologies like 3D, BIM and others helping architecture and builders to maintain an ecological sufficient building?
I think they are more like a tool, and it all depends on your skill of operating the tool. 3D modeling, BIM, again, you can't just club 3D modeling and BIM together. 3D modeling is a completely different thing. 3D modeling can be done on various platforms, various tools and softwares are there. While BIM, it's a building information module system which helps you, to organize your work in terms of, if we talk about architectural projects, it helps you to organize your work in a better way, integrate in a better way, so that you can have your all services as well as like MEP services and all can be done on one platform, and it can be better coordinated than like making individual 2D drawings or something. So these are just tools which definitely helps, saves your time, and time is everything. Time is money for professionals. So yes, they do help, but yes, I would say that they are not just the limits. And for us to achieve goal of smart city or goal of having a sustainable city and all, tool comes secondary, and the primary thing is your intentions, your objectives. How do you utilize these factors in your design? Yes, these tools are going to help you in achieving what you dream, but dreaming is important.
Technology is truly helping us adding architectural value to sustainable buildings, right? Thank you, Mr. Shailesh. Also, I would like to ask you another question, that is, how are innovations in facades complementing the design aesthetics and building architecture in the high rise?
Yes, we do have, facade upliftment is also part of a component which we have incorporated in various smart cities, and it would fall in the category of retrofit if I categorize them in terms of what I presented just now. So, yes, you do need to change or uplift yourself, or if I talk in terms of, you need to dress yourself in contemporary format, or, up to the time. So facade upliftment also act in that way, and you can't just restrict yourself to create something which is totally out of box in the name of facade upliftment. Your character of the city. Suppose if I talk about a heritage city which has heritage, lots of heritage structures and all, which is known for its heritage. So if kind of facade upliftment work is, then it should relate to the character of the city. So facade upliftment, definitely from time to time you need to upgrade yourself, you need to style up yourself as human do the buildings, also do the spaces. So yes, it's one of the important factors, and I think there's nothing wrong to improve, keep improving.
Thank you so much, Shailesh, for sharing your views. Ms. Anuprita, would you like to give a closing statement for today's session?
Yes, I feel that we're all moving towards smart cities where it's a very urban concept. But why I showed what I showed today is we tend to forget that there is a large population which we are not addressing at all. Not that there should be no progress. Of course, there should be progress. We need to progress all the time. But we are kind of somewhere, neglecting the part that really needs attention and needs to be uplifted. And it's essential to do that if you want to achieve the entire 100% smart city goals. So somewhere, somehow, that is getting neglected, and I think it needs more attention. I hope it gets.
Thank you, Ms. Anuprita. Thank you, Mr. Shailesh. Now I request Achal to proceed with the closing of today's session.
Thank you, panelists, for exchanging your valuable thoughts on today's topic, designs that make Indian cities smart. We hope you have enjoyed it. Before wrapping up today's session, we would like to thank our distinguished panelists, Ms. Anuprita, Mr. Tripat, and Mr. Shailesh. For viewers who have joined us today, we would like your feedback and encourage you to stay connected with us via our social media handles. AC Update is available on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. You can also download our app from Google Play and App Store. We also request our viewers to stay tuned for future interaction. With that, today's interaction has now come to a close. Thank you and goodbye.